thank you for agreeing to join with me and join on this journey of this series that is sponsored by the Miracle Activation Center. And we're just asking ourselves right now, what is this for? What is this series about? And how can we just together, having conversations with one another, look at things from a different perspective, that whatever is going on or whatever I perceive is going on in the world, in my relationships with my family, my friends, my coworkers, that what can I bring from a mindset that will be helpful to me in resolving any belief in conflict, any belief in attack, and so forth. So thank you so much for agreeing to join with me as my mighty companion.
That's right. Well, there's a part in the Course that talks about, the Course in Miracles, that talks about entering the ark and that you enter it 2 by 2. So the mere fact that we're both trying to enter into this ark of peace together, 2 by 2 is how it's going to happen the fastest. And I feel like the purpose of it is for us to share with each other ideas that we could both remember and keep in mind in order to keep us in peace and to let go of those blocks. So thank you for joining in this holy encounter, this holy instant, this instant of peace that's very much needed right now.
How did things change for you, Earl, when you really began to receive that idea and that truth that every encounter is a holy encounter? Because that's not something that it's not something I was taught. I'm not sure that many of us would really look at things that way. So how did things change for you when you began to embrace that idea of every encounter being a holy encounter?
Well, when I thought of it as I was being told that the holy encounter means that the way I treat the person, I'm treating myself. And that what I'm giving to you is what I'm asking for. Because everything I do is really very much built around metaphysical universal principles and laws. That, I try to live my life, in a way that I'm focusing in on laws that I know I can count on regardless of race, creed, color, culture, social, economic conditions. I want to know what's behind this that I can always depend on, that's going to always be consistent. And I found out that basic rule of everything that I give, I'm giving it to myself. And the law of cause and effect, what I put out there, that's what I'm going to receive. So a holy encounter to me is an encounter where I'm entering, that I'm really aware that I'm being given another opportunity to give what I'd like to experience more of in myself and in my own mind. Because my belief is that my beliefs and my thoughts and my beliefs and unconscious feelings and conscious feelings, that all of these things are creating my perception of reality. That's the world that I'm going to live in is the world that's based on my thinking. And I'm only being affected by my own thoughts. And so regardless of how another person might be reacting to what I'm saying, what I'm realizing is that I'm giving to them what I need to hear and what I need to learn, because I realize that everybody's interpreting what everybody's saying. So nobody's really hearing anybody directly. To me, it's a miracle that we did anything done or we understand anything on any level, simply because no matter what I'm saying to you right now, you're interpreting what I'm saying according to what you believe and what you've learned and what these very words that I'm saying, you've taught yourself to me. So if I look at you as myself, then if I really want peace, if I really want love, if I really want support, then I'm going to give it to you. And that's what makes it a holy encounter, which means, to me, holy just means an innocent encounter, another opportunity for me to treat you the way I'd like to be treated, or to relate to you the way I'd like to be related to. So even though that idea of holy can sound holy, it really just means this is a sacred opportunity for me.
And as you were sharing that, when I noticed my mind starting to wander, and it's always interesting to me how the ego we've trained the ego so well, or we have allowed the ego so well to distract us. So here we are talking about an opportunity to join together, and this is not to make more of it than it is, or shame and blame or judge myself on any level. So I really desire and I really want to be very present to this conversation for this purpose of healing. And as you're sharing, and I asked you a question and you were responding, and I noticed my mind start to go somewhere else. Now, the beautiful thing is I was aware of it, which is something I wouldn't have been, aware of years ago. And I was able to calm my mind, bring my higher self back to the conversation. So this distraction, again, not to make more of it, but just to the point that, is there anything in me that I don't want to experience? Is there a part of me that really doesn't want to experience pure presence, pure oneness in a conversation that I invited? It's an interesting, something I'm observing right
Well,
now.
it's really cool that you're doing that. But actually it kind of proves exactly what I was talking about, right? I'm talking, but the way you were reacting had to do with your own mindset, right?
Uh-huh.
So I could have been as careful as I wanted to be to make sure that you were hearing me, but still based on where your mind was at, right?
Yeah.
That would have determined whether or not you were hearing what I was saying,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then by your own admission, you felt a part of yourself drift off. But
Uh-huh.
that is exactly what I learned through the Course in Miracles, that there's a part of me that believes that it's going to be safer and it's to its advantage not to hear anything loving, not to join, and not to experience anything peaceful. And that's what I needed to get in touch with. That part of me that seemed like it was anti peace or
Mm-hmm.
anti-joining or anti-being present with someone who you have the purpose with that person of having a much more loving and a much more sane connection. What part of me does drift off when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to joining what in peace?
Mm.
So that there's a part of me that seems like it doesn't want to move toward any kind of connection that's a loving, peaceful connection, or to hear the answer that I just asked for.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
really, and these are the kind of conversations we're going to have, that we can be very open and honest with one another and say, I just went somewhere else,
Hmm.
and we're going to lovingly look at that. So because, I was talking with someone yesterday who continues to experience some conflict in their relationship, and the tendency is to just leave, right? For a few moments, a few hours, a few weeks, a few months. And we make a commitment to be in relationship with one another, either through a vow or an agreement, or as simple as picking up the phone and saying, let's go see a movie together, whatever that is. And then as sure as we make that commitment, there's a part of us that almost the minute we make the commitment is already figuring out our escape route,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
And then we've talked about this before, that it's a miracle that any of us stay in relationship for longer than 5 minutes.
It always amazes me. It seems like um, that I used to use my relationships to either witness to how inept I am at having loving connections with people, or I would form relationships that would reinforce the idea that I do have value. And so again, it just, to me, when it always comes back to my perception. And that's what sometimes a challenge for me is, that we are programmed to want 100,000 different answers to 100,000 different questions. We're not programmed to try to use the same answers for every situation that comes up. We are programmed that every situation needs a very different specific solution. And the
Mm-hmm.
truth is teaching me that that is a trick, because that's a whole lot to remember. That it would be much more expedient for me if I was to take one hardcore truth and, as much as possible, apply that to every individual situation that comes up. And so that's what I'm trying to remember in my own personal growth, is take a truth and work that truth as much as you can, like you would a muscle. So the
Mm-hmm.
one I'm working on right now, and the one that's been the most effective for me, is to let go of the idea that if this were different, I'd be happy. That's the
Mm-hmm.
one. See, I take different ideas like from the Course in Miracles and other truth books, and then I go, okay, let me work that idea. Okay, so what
Mhm.
am I being told is the main thing that keeps me from being happy? Well, I'm not present. I'm not allowing myself to appreciate any of the true benefits and blessings of this conversation that we're
Mhm.
having right now. There's a part of me that's always going to be thinking about how to respond to what you say, and not be totally present. Or there's a part of me that's thinking about what's going to happen later on today or what happened earlier today. There's a part that seems like it wants to be anywhere but 100% present with the person that you're with. Because in the present, if I'm with you in the present, then this is a fresh, brand new moment that I can have an experience with you that's truly unlike any experience that I've ever had if I don't bring the past into right now.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm giving myself permission to have all the distractions come up within myself, or to have myself tune in and tune out sometimes, because there's a part of me that's trying to avoid the connection. That's the word. The
Mhm.
connection and the joining we can have. There's a part of me that wants to be separate. There's a
Yes.
part of me that wants to see myself as separate, see myself as different, see myself as autonomous, see myself as on its own. There's a part of me that wants to see me as somehow lacking in some way, or inadequate in some way, or guilty in some way, just as much as there is a part of me that wants to see that light and love and peace inside of me.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to either use that with you to reinforce my separation, or I'm going to use the part of my mind that wants to connect with you. And that's going to call for me being understanding and compassionate about however you may be reacting to me, or how I might be reacting to you.
Right. So I'm again just want to express my gratitude to both of us for agreeing to do this, and our gratitude to both of us for being willing to take the risk.
Hmm.
We've talked about that, and to explore. And what I love about what you said most of all is to just be present without an agenda,
Right,
and let each moment be fresh. Even in a 15-minute conversation, this very moment right here, right now, is a fresh moment of connection and a fresh moment of restoration.
right, right. I don't have to. The only reason why I would feel fear right now or discomfort right now, it would have to be because of something that I'm telling myself.
Mm,
And if I'm having a conversation with myself while I'm listening to you, then I'm not being present.
right.
It's just that simple. But there
Mm-hmm.
is a part of me that wants to be clever and wants to know exactly what I'm going to say next, or how I'm going to express myself next, because I'm aware that this conversation is ultimately going to be seen by more than just the two of us.
Uh-huh.
So that's also me getting out of the present moment, because I'm thinking about who might be watching the conversation in the future. So
Mm-hmm.
I try to remember, okay, Purdy, as soon as you get the least bit out of the flow, that simply means you are not present, and you being in the future, and the future is not yet. Come
Mm-hmm.
back, come back. But and I have to consciously do that until I get to the point that it's just something that I do by, habit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference for me now, is that I am taking more responsibility for my personal peace and my personal happiness, and how much that's based on the way I'm looking at things. Where in
Mm-hmm.
the past I was just a lot more about what I could tell you that you needed to do differently in order for me to feel that peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not necessarily anything that most people haven't heard before, but what I think each one of us bring to the table is our own unique way that one truth that we all share can be expressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think about that in terms of what we're offering. How is it, different from what, millions of other people are offering? Well, what will make it different to me is how authentic I will be in being myself, because there is no one else exactly like me. I'm a unique expression of God. You are
Mm-hmm.
a unique expression. So we got our own individual flavor, or way of doing things. That's what's going to make what we're doing unique, is how much we bring our personality and our way of letting the love and truth come through us. And the worst thing, the biggest mistake that I think I could make would be for me to be trying to do this in any other way other than the way that's through my own natural personality and way of being, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what's going to make it unique. That's
Right.
what, you know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like I'm getting rid of, because the truth is the truth is the truth is the truth. So it isn't like I'm going to be ultimately, if I'm really telling the truth, it's not like I'm ultimately going to be saying something that is that different from what other people are saying. That's the
Uh-huh.
truth, right? So
Right.
it's my flavor, and that's what I'm tempted to. That's what I'm tempted to let go of. That's what I'm tempted to try to squash, so that I could be presentable to the most people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the mistake that I really want not to make
Mm.
in what we're doing.
Right. Fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to doing this frequently and bringing this forth and into the world. So we'll stay tuned for next time, and we'll see what our joined consciousness and our higher consciousness brings forth for us.
That's right.
Amazing. Wonderful. All
I'm
right.
excited.
Thanks, Earl.
You're welcome.